Welcome in live and uncensored tonight. Well, maybe a little censored, but hey, it's not about that. It's about football, fantasy football, the NFFC live stream, 12-team OC, do or die draft. It's myself, Michael Govier, and of course, two elite players in their own right, Nelson Souza and Vlad Rotogut Sedler. How you doing tonight?
Doing good.
I'm doing good. I'm ready to roll. I'm happy to be on the other side of Nelson. And one of the guys in the draft who we know asked, like, did you guys plan this out? No, we did not talk about KDS beforehand. We did not plan to be on the other side. I'm sure Nelson would say he's obviously not afraid of me, but if we had to draft next to each other, it would suck. But we're not doing that today.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling a little froggy, so I wanted to go and kind of build a different looking team tonight. So we'll see what happens.
Ooh, yeah, I got a little prelude from that in the text exchange that I think Vlad shared. That was getting me a little excited to see which way you go. Both you guys are big-time players. Respect both of you immensely. This is the FTN Fantasy in association with the NFFC 12-team OC, $250,000, folks. That's the overall grand prize that is on the line tonight. It's a big deal. This is something you guys should all get excited about, all right? That's up from $200,000 last year, right? So we are not messing around tonight, folks. Entry for each individual league's $350, and we got drafts going nonstop, folks. I think we're looking at around 4,400 teams this year, but when it's all said and done, this is a fab league, and if you want to get involved, all you got to do is sign up now. We got drafts going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, midnight right now. In a couple of minutes, we'll see both Vlad and Nelson go head-to-head here with 10 other people, and of course, make sure that you go and sign up now because this is the 19th year. And we're 1 year away from a 20-year anniversary of the National Fantasy Football Championships. It's a very exciting time. And don't forget there are other options too. If you're not down with the 12-team OC, you can do the cut line. Got a $100,000 grand prize. And there's a lot of fun stuff going on there. All with the National Fantasy Football Championships, NFFC. So, having said all that, we're about 2 minutes away from draft time. Vlad, how you feeling right now? What's your focus like? KDS-wise, did you feel like things went your way? Fill me in.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of end up just selecting in the back end. That's how it's been so far. This will be my 8th OC, and I believe 2 of those were either a 1 pick or a 3 pick. Everything else is basically between 9 and 11. So I'm really comfortable in this spot. It is good to get out of your comfort zone sometimes. There's always that internal conversation of exposure. Like, do I want to have, if I end up with like 12 OC teams and I'm always drafting from that spot, do I want to mix in, to the joke that I was sharing with Nelson, do I want to mix in a Derrick Henry or do I want to just keep drafting the guys that I want? So it's always that kind of internal debate. Today, I don't know. I feel, I don't want to say off, but just feeling a little quirky. I think I might I don't want to go off the rails. I do have a plan. I do have targets per round. I do have things somewhat mapped out, but there might be a couple of spots where it goes off the rails for me.
Yeah, Nelson, you have the first overall picks. That's right. We're about 30 seconds out.
Yes, sir. We're going to go Christian McCaffrey. And then
no bones about it.
Yeah. And then from there we'll see what happens.
Nelson, you had a 1 pick earlier today, right? And you took who'd you take?
Jefferson.
Yeah, mixing it up.
Oh, I like that. See, I'm down with that.
I actually liked how the team turned out.
Yeah, you had if I recall correctly, one. Like 5 of your first 6 picks were receivers, right? And pretty solid dudes.
Yeah. It was Jefferson, came back with Fournette, and then went Sutton, Robinson, and then the following round was Elijah Moore, Hopkins.
Nice.
I believe was the start.
Nice.
Wow. Okay, well, there it is. We are officially underway. Christian McCaffrey selected by Nelson, and our number 2 pick. And Vlad, you are selecting where tonight?
I'm 10 tonight. So 10 is
what a shock! What a shock!
Yeah, that's where I've been. Hey, it was my hockey number 2. I grew up playing ice hockey. Big fan of Pavel Bure, and that's the number I wore. So maybe it's my lucky draft spot.
Yeah.
That's weird. A lot of NHL '94 talk today on Twitter as well. So that's just random.
I haven't played that game in honestly a decade. I probably would get schooled. I mean, everybody claims to have been like the best at it, right? But if you actually have a competition, and you just don't know how those are going to go.
And also, if you missed our last draft, you can go check that out as well on the FTN Network. Subscribe, connect with us on our YouTube channel. We had the big sticker on, and we fixed that. So now everyone is anonymous. It's all secretive, except, of course, for Nelson and Vlad right here as we move into pick number 5.
Pick 4 actually is he's a NFFC player, NFBC player for quite a while. Jordan Epping is his name. So he's picking from 4. He was okay with identifying himself. I think I think it was like the Silver Bullet, which is the single entry NFFC game, which I think Nelson and I both are going to enter. It's a 1K entry, and you cannot play more than one team. Just your bullet for the season. So I think Jordan did pretty well in that for a couple seasons.
And if you want to follow along, as you should, get involved in this, make it interactive for yourselves. We're doing ADP on the NFFC website, of course, from August 6th to today, which is about 16 drafts. Is that right, Vlad?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you look at it, Nelson. Sometimes you're looking for like a week's worth of data. You really don't want to go much more than that, especially this time of year with NFFC. There are multiple drafts per day. So you're getting a lot more fresh data, especially with injury news, like obviously the Melvin Gordon issue today. And obviously we'll probably see some effect based on that. But yeah, if you're looking at data, ADP data that's too old, it's really going to kind of skew things for you.
Yeah, typically this time of year I go week to week, but as soon as the preseason games start, which they're going to start tomorrow, I'm looking usually like within like the next couple of days after those games, because guys move up and down based on what ends up happening in those preseason games.
And now Vlad is officially on the clock here, Nelson. Do you have any expectations for him here? I'd be curious to see what you think.
He did tell me that he was feeling a little off, that he might go with a certain player. I don't know if he's going to do that because there's some good players available on the board. We'll see.
Also, if you're not familiar, there is a 3rd round reversal, and starting in round 3, at the end of round 2, it'll go where it is. Instead of going snake, it'll stay where it is to start round 3. And there it is.
Yeah,
Saquon Barkley.
I know the guy at 9.
He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
Well, I'll tell you why in a second. You might see here in a second. But yeah, I like Barkley. I wrote about him earlier today. This is the new range. This is where you have to get him. This is where the Sharks are grabbing him. He's not really fallen there into the 2nd round. Derrick Henry was the guy that Nelson and I joked about today, where I was like, hey, I might get off the board a little bit and grab Henry, who I usually don't. He has fallen to the early 2nd round. He's fallen before to pick 15, 16. So I would have absolutely considered him in the 2nd round. But I didn't want to lose out on grabbing Saquon there.
Saquon Barkley. This is a change just from a couple of days ago, in my opinion, Vlad. We talked about how things can move so quickly. And Nelson as well, you understand that depending on the day and what's going down, the news, you talked about the Gordon news earlier, it changes perspectives and it changes drafts day by day, depending on what day it is, right, Nelson?
No, absolutely. But I think Saquon, he's been at this spot now for a couple of weeks. I think as soon as training camp started and Saquon, there was a couple of highlights where he looked pretty good and a couple of beat reporters speaking highly of him. When you look at the talent profile, and he's been, a top running back in fantasy before, which was his rookie year, people are looking at it as like, he might be able to put it together again.
Yeah, I'm the way that I'm looking at it is a fully healthy Saquon Barkley could potentially return top 3, top 4 overall value, even outside borderline, number 1 guy. It's not out of the realm of possibility. got to kind of throw away what we've been seeing with these, this horrific management, coaching staff the last couple of years. You're bringing in a whole new approach here. You got Brian Dable with a good track record of success. You got bolstered offensive line. You've got nice pass catcher to stretch the field. Kadarius Toney, if his hammy is okay. Kenny Golladay, the kid Wan'Dale Robinson looks good. And Saquon's going to eat. And they're already talking about feeding him a lot in the receiving game. Kind of throw out those last couple of years out the window with the ACL and everything. Go back and look at his rookie season, 91 catches. It was pretty impressive. Probably not going to get that many, but you're looking at a guy that I am personally pretty bullish on.
Wow, that's a great comp and a thought process there with Barkley. If he is the man that he could once have been, that would be a big, big boon here. And you also go Devontae Adams with pick 2 there. So this build looks a little different than what we did on Friday, Vlad. Is that fair to say, or does it feel basically standard issue?
Yeah, I mean, the gentleman at 9, I think he likes Dalvin Cook. He knows I like Dalvin Cook. I probably would have taken Dalvin over Saquon there. But obviously he's drafting independent of me. And somehow Adams falls. I'm looking at this last week of ADP, and this would be Adams's max pick. So pick 15. Previous to that, his max was 14. He goes anywhere from like 7 to 10 usually. I'm fine with him there, and so it's going to be a little bit of a different build, or I might be looking at my RB2 earlier, or maybe not. We'll see.
And Nelson, how do you feel about having the number 1 pick here? Because you're going to pick at the end of this round. Then it's going to go all the way back to the other side for the 3rd round reversal before it comes back to you at the end of round 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Just because of that 3rd round pick, there's some good players that are available in the early 3rd round. But I do like the 3-4 turn. I always think that there's really good players there. So I don't mind it. I move around everywhere, and I do so many of these that I'm just trying to gain exposure to, different players and build different looking teams.
Wow. So are you in the double digits on these things, man? I'm so fascinated by how deep some people go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Nels, he's probably not going to prop himself up too much, but he's, like arguably you could consider him like the best fantasy football player in the world. There's obviously a lot of guys out there on his level that can also possibly take that title. But yeah, and obviously a volume drafter, and then lots of busy Wednesdays, right? With Fab, and then Sunday morning. But actually, dude, I did have a question for you, Nelson. What do you do? Okay, he's on the clock. Let's let him pick first. Then I got a question.
Nelson's on the clock here. Let's see if he's ready to rock or if he's going to use the full minute to his. Oh, there it is. Okay, go ahead, Vlad.
Messing around. I was just going to ask, what do you do if like a player gets inactive that you weren't expecting like 5-8 minutes before, and you got to make moves on a lot of teams?
It's at the NFFC, what's nice is when you go into your My Teams page and you go into your lineup page, you have the player search. So just type in the player's name, and it highlights, like I have, laundry list of teams, and it will highlight them. And I just quickly go through and get them out of the lineup. So that's one thing that I really like about the NFFC and the software enhancements that they made.
Yeah, there's basically it's like the player shares feature. So you go in, you see your shares, click on that player, all your teams pop up that you're looking for, and you just kind of right click them, open all those teams, and pop them in. Billy Hayes.
Oh, Billy Hayes is commenting. Look, is Billy another known man? I know so little at times. I know so much, but there's so much to learn.
He's been around the block. We know Billy many years on Twitter.
Yeah, Billy says, I've been following Nelson since his Scout Pro days. Smart. Yeah, that sounds about right. I like what I'm hearing so far. Look at that. You're so humble and modest too, Nelson. We're live here with Nelson Souza, Vlad Sedler. I'm Michael Govier. This is the FTN stream of the NFFC 12-team OC live draft. You guys can be a part of it. We got promo codes, Govier25. Dive in now to an OC or cut line. Look down on the Chiron or the banner or the scroller, however you refer to it. All right, we're in the round 3 reversal now. We've gone back to the end. That's how it works. in the OC, and Nick Chubb and T. Higgins, 2 AFC North players, are off the board.
Were you debating another player?
I was just looking around to make sure I didn't miss anything because when I was talking, I wasn't really following the draft. I do set my pre-draft order, so I basically have it in the usual order that I was. But I was just, since I wasn't looking at the board, I didn't realize that Higgins, Tyreek, and Evans were all gone. And then I was considering a couple of running backs there just because I'm sometimes not comfortable with waiting on my RB2. I hate playing that game of matchups with RB2. So
was it that guy, ETN?
I have a little bit more. He's really the only consideration.
Yeah.
I do think I won't say his name, but the Arizona guy is interesting, but I'm not really in a draft spot to really grab him. Like if I was maybe in Nelson's spot at 1 and he fell at the back end, then I'd consider the Arizona back, who I'm kind of back on. I think I was a little off of him. My real concern is just health with JC.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Michael.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's Mikey V from Long Island. I think he's from Long Island. From New York, somewhere on the East Coast.
New York, Long Island.
In the woods.
That's right. That's in your area. Okay, so by the way, Michael Pittman, ADP over the last 4 days is ranged from 21 to 37. So it looks like you got him right in the range where it would be expected to take him at this time. No complaints there as we move forward in the draft. And no major injury news besides the one player we already mentioned earlier. And I won't mention him again just because he hasn't been drafted, but I think you know who we're talking about. He might play in the Rocky Mountains, and we don't know. Are you guys, you took Javonte Williams, Nelson. Did that news today impact your decision here in any way?
No, actually, that's kind of where he's been going lately in drafts. The draft earlier tonight, he actually went at like 2.2. And that's kind of my expectation, is that until we hear, more details on the Gordon injury, I think Javonte is going to be a guy that's going to move way up. I'm not sure if I want to be moving him way up this week and drafting him, and then all of a sudden the Gordon injury comes out to be nothing. He just took a week off of practice because he was a little bit banged up, and now you're stuck with Javonte in the early second round, maybe even late first round if people get a little crazy.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, right? Because these things change every day, and then if you are drafting multiples in a contest, you really can mix things up, and you can take advantage of basically like the offerings of the day, the good tidings of the day. I remember one very clearly a few years ago when Ezekiel Elliott was hanging out, was gonna sit out.
Are on deck.
And ended up going from just a 2-day span where he went from like a first round pick to a second round pick. And so I was able to grab him much later than he usually goes, and ended up having a really good team with that team this year. So yeah, it just depends. I mean, and then last year on the other side of the coin, I had an OC where I drafted Cam Akers the day before he had his basically what we thought was going to be a season-ending injury. So that
incredible that he came back.
Yeah. That moved the market on Darrell Henderson, and obviously, the rest was history there.
And Nelson is now up. Going to have back-to-back picks here, Nelson. We're very excited to see what it's going to be. What will you do? As he thinks about it, I consider the notion that you can use the promo code Govier25, get $25 off right now. Jump in at OC tomorrow or Cutline. There's a lot of options here. FTN supports the NFFC and vice versa. We're partners together.
Yep. Yeah. I'm wondering. Ooh, nice. That's a nice little combo there. Little flip of the script, and then the tight end build is right. Like when you take a tight end early, at least for me, it sometimes feels a little uncomfortable. Like I had a team that is my least favorite. It's like a Kelsey in the second round, and you just kind of know you're getting all your wide receivers are almost all pushed back. You almost have to not convince yourself, but look at it as Kelsey is your wide receiver 1 basically, and then just kind of offset. You know what I mean?
I totally get it, because that's my least favorite approach, is taking an early tight end. I'm going to have just like last year, I'm going to have very little exposure to like Kelsey, Andrews. Pitts is actually my number one ranked tight end. I think he's got the highest upside this year. I think there's going to be a little regression with Andrews. Kelsey's going to be 33. I'd rather be a year early than a year late on those type of players. Eventually they're going to break down. So yeah, I don't get much exposure to the highly ranked, tight ends through the years. But Pitts is a guy that I'll definitely incorporate him into builds when the price is right.
Billy says, I got to think Diggs Allen mini stack is going to be on a lot of teams this year. Probably true. I don't think anybody would want to be on the outside looking in at that. Also, Paul says, hey, I'm trying to draft here, but I want to know how Govier is doing in Canada. I'm doing great, Paul. Thanks for asking. Get back to your draft and stay focused. Remember, drafts come first. My welfare in Canada comes secondary. This is a draft night, and that's what we're all about here right now as we are cruising into the middle of the fourth round in our NFFC live stream edition of the 12-team OC, $250,000 overall grand prize.
Michael, do you ever get stopped at the border for being like, oh, dude, are you Govier from FTN? And asking for autographs at the border?
Since I came on last week, it's really gone up a lot, and I have to constantly, hey, come on, guys, I don't have time for this. I got live streams to do. I got articles to write. I can't be bothered with these autographs. I just can't. Although border guards are notoriously kind of stingy. They don't really get that excited, but I know deep down in their hearts, there's a lot of them want to high-five me. I know.
Did you guys see the Case Keenum trying to go incognito and get autographs from his teammates? It was a pretty funny clip. Most people recognized him, but Josh Allen didn't at first, and was almost like, "Hey, I'm too busy for this." And then he was like, "Oh wait, yeah, I know you. You're my backup."
Hunter says, "Hey, just started watching you guys, helping me a lot to prepare for my fantasy drafts. Good luck to you guys." Thank you, Hunter. That's awesome.
So, all right, I'm coming up here, 2 picks away. I have a specific target in mind. It would be nice. My build's a little bit different than I would usually do here from the 10 spot because I usually don't have 2 receivers in my first 3 picks, but it's fine. It makes for better decision making in season, right? You make less mistakes if you have bona fide wide receiver ones in their respective teams. You just know that as long as those guys aren't on bye and they're healthy, you're going to start them no matter what.
If he gets by teammate, I think you get him. And we haven't talked about who the player is, but I just know.
Yep.
I just know.
So here we go.
Right, you're going to get him.
Yes.
It's happening. Vlad's up next. And whoever this player is, I can't wait to see who it is. But Nelson and Vlad already know the story because these guys are pros. And if you're not listening to them, then I don't know why you would be ignoring the incredible amount of information and wisdom from both Nelson and Vlad. As Vlad's pick comes up here, I did see a tweet today about Marquise Brown, who Nelson drafted earlier. And this stigma, I guess, about the Ravens offense and the passing game. It does seem like he should be going higher, and I assume that's why you took him, Nelson, because you agreed with that.
Yeah, with him being with the Cardinals, I actually think that his value was going to get depressed a little bit, but he's been consistently going in the 4th round, and then we had the little DUI. Actually, no,
just speeding.
Take that back. It was actually he got stopped for speeding.
Yes.
And it was a felony charge because he was going 30 miles over the speed limit, right? So in Arizona, it's becomes more of a serious thing, which obviously going 30 miles over the speed limit is pretty serious.
It's a no-go anywhere.
Yeah.
Vlad just took Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, I love the language that he knows. No, obviously Nelson knows he's a pro, but yeah, there just aren't a lot of running backs in my spot there at pick 46. Really none that I would consider. A lot of the guys that are coming up are a little bit too early for me, and there's really only one guy, and that was it. Nelson knew it. He also saw that Team 9 had 2 running backs and a tight end to start. He pretty much knew that Team 9, who is another volume player that we know. It wasn't going to he wasn't going to take Zeke there just to bust, my team. That's usually not most people's style. but he was going to take a receiver there, and that's. But that isn't what happened though, which is interesting. He went for the Kelsey Mahomes stack, which is interesting.
That's true. And Ezekiel, wide range here, even in a short period. It is ADP with the 23 was his high. That was the min, and the max was 58. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
You know, the funny part is come up now is I might bust his stack now because I'm considering Juju here. I like Juju a lot. And that would go nicely for him to get Kelsey Mahomes Juju. They're probably in a lot of teams.
That you don't take him.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm probably listening on the air. I have to consider it. Let me just look at my list.
10 seconds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm sorry, man. It's not personal.
It's never personal. This is the second straight stream that you have taken Juju Smith-Schuster.
He said, "Oh shit, I have 10 seconds. I'm sorry. I got to take Juju."
That's a risk of doing a live draft in real time. He's prepared, but you can't do anybody any favors if you're running out of time.
Yeah, I mean there are a few receivers there I would have considered. I already have a few Jujus, but I'm just in, man. I like them a lot. I don't care about the low ADOT stuff. We talked about it last show. Last low ADOT guy was Debo going into last season. He obviously absolutely blew up.
Debo.
And it's a good spot for him. He's no Tyreek Hill, obviously, but I think a healthy Juju is going to be a phenomenal ad this year.
You guys are very active in the live chat. I love this. If you have a question, we'll try to answer it if we can. Ryan has one here about the Bills' offense. Is there any concern that with Daboll gone, Brian Daboll, now the head coach of the New York Giants, he's gone, and the Bills don't have him. Will there be a fall-off? Nelson, are you concerned about the Bills being any different offensively this year, or at the very least like a drop-off that would be significant?
He makes a fair point. I could see in critical situations with the play calling to begin the year if things are just a tiny bit off. But Allen's now been in the league long enough. You got Diggs. You got the rapport with Gabriel Davis has been there. All those guys on offense have, there wasn't much turnover. So I think they're just going to continue doing their thing, rolling along. It's more of executing on 3rd and 6, maybe at the goal line. You could see a couple of things where, they maybe struggle to get that 3rd down or punch in that touchdown at the beginning of the year, just because the offensive play caller things are just not clicking just yet. But I'm not too worried about it.
I wanted to mention one interesting phenomenon for those that haven't played NFFC or were planning to. There's a really cool feature. It's basically a free look for that Thursday night NFL opener, and that's Buffalo Bills and LA Rams. So basically you don't have to set your lineup until after that game. You just have to set your lineup before Sunday morning lock. So if you have any Bills or Rams and they don't perform, you don't have to have them in your starting lineup. So there are certain strategies around that, maybe as far as defenses or kickers. For example, if you draft Buffalo's defense, you may want to take a second defense as well, just in case Buffalo only scores 4 points, and you might have obviously a higher chance of getting more than 4 points from your other defense. Same thing goes for the kicker. Same thing goes if, Gabriel Davis goes 2 for 15 and you could just play another receiver. So definitely some extra strategy involved there.
That is wild. That's really cool, though. That's why the NFFC rules. And if you're not playing, you're missing out. And if you need a little extra incentive, don't forget, promo code $25 off. Govier 25. That's GOV as in Victor, IER 25. Get $25 off. An OC, just like they're drafted right now, 12-teamer or cut line. Cut line's fun too. Vlad, you love cut lines, right?
Yeah, cut lines are great. There's a big prize pool there. You don't have to set your lineup, which is phenomenal. It is a best ball format. It's a 10-teamer. You can get more loaded teams, and it's just nice. You draft some of those, mix them in with your OCs. Don't have to worry about lineup setting. So it's phenomenal, and a lot of money paid out there.
Oh yeah, that's great. I do it on the baseball side. I love cut lines. I need to work on my game in the cut line, but hey, that's all part of the experience. Every format has its different little quirks. As Nelson's on the clock here as we close out the end of round 5, back-to-backs, 2 for Tuesday, 2 for the price of 1. Nelson Souza, the legend in his own time, is drafting right now before your eyes. And get ready to see exactly what he will do. There's one, and that's Rashad Bateman, wide receiver.
One of my boys.
That's a great pick. I would love to have Rashad Bateman on my squad. I don't care what the build was. I'd just be happy to have him on. I mean, he's so talented. I remember him as a Big Ten guy, so good at Minnesota in a team that's not known for great wide receivers. Bateman was the man. Him and Tyler Johnson did their thing a few years ago.
This is so tough. I have so much of this guy. I was just looking at like my player shares earlier tonight, and I got to change it up. So I'm going to pass on one of my boys and go with another player. He's right there, like in the same tier. But usually this is like an auto pick for me, but we're going to change it up just a little bit.
All right.
What do you think of that one, Vlad?
Can I ask you, is it because your auto pick has some health concerns? Is it that guy?
Yeah. But it's not so much the health concerns. It's a good reminder that, if you've got 70% of this guy that's going in the 6th round, and he does get hurt, it's going to hurt. It's going to sting a bit.
Yeah. And I'll bring him up when I'm coming up on the clock, because I might be interested. I might be in the market.
I feel like I'm watching animals communicating in a way I don't understand. It's incredible. These two guys, they know exactly who they're thinking about. They got their KDSs set up. They know which players are going where generally, because they do so many drafts. It's not, a coincidence that they're like this. It's because of repetition, experience, knowledge, wisdom. You guys put it together, and it's a lot of fun.
And gut. Don't forget gut.
Oh, of course. Yeah, the gut. Got to have that gut. Stefano says the 3 GOATs. Wow. Well, I'm just grateful to be included with these two guys. Thank you, Stefano. Very kind of you. Well, we got to keep it real here. Juju, 90 catches for 800 yards, 4 touchdowns, no upside, says Lucas from California.
We know where you work now, Lucas, though.
Yep.
90 catches. Oh, by the way,
I bet he's real fun at the company Christmas party.
Yeah. By the way, our colleague, that was cool. Our colleague Stefano, and then also Chris Meany said I did him dirty, did Team 9 dirty like that. Actually, I just messaged Team 9, and that's Mike Sanda. He said it's okay. I can mention him as well, the Sandman, aka the Sniper, and he did admit that I busted his Juju stack, or his KC stack. He wanted Juju.
Well, at least he's coming clean, Sandman. I appreciate the honesty.
I just wanted to see what I have for him, for Juju. I've got, and I might be even low on the receptions. I don't know, but I'm typically an overprojector. Tell me what you think of this, Nelson. What I have 81 catches, 960 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could be low, huh?
I think it's 90 plus this year.
Okay. And he would come in. Oh, maybe I didn't adjust my projection there. He comes in like 24. So yeah, something is off here, because I definitely had him higher. I had him like in the teens.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that comes to mind for me is I need an FTN hat or shirt. That's what I need. Look at you guys. These guys
You'll get a care
sharp
package in the mail.
Hook a brother up. That's what I say. Vlad, we're cruising in soon to your pick here, and you said that you were alluding to a possible player who will show up. Right now, we look at Vlad's team. You got Barkley, you got Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman, Ezekiel Elliott, and Juju Smith-Schuster. That's 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs.
I don't think he's getting past Team 9.
This mysterious player. Will he get past Team 9? Will he get you, Vlad?
Mike just drafts too much. Like, this is going to be, where he's been going. If you're not concerned about, the injury or whatever, like that's about where he's going to go. It'll be interesting to see.
I will tell you guys in a second who we're talking about here, but you might be able to guess because it is a receiver. It's a receiver with an injury concern at the moment. We're hoping that it's something that's not going to affect him long term.
You got a couple options though that I like there.
Interesting. I have no idea what this is going to be, and I think I have one idea, but I can't wait to say it. As the Sandman makes his selection here, we'll find out what happens as it leads into Vlad's pick at 10, and there goes Kadarius Toney.
There it is.
That's it.
Yeah. That would have been auto click for me. 2 receivers, 2 running backs. Let me see. I have to look what the guys on the turn have to help think about my decision here.
Oh, what? Oh, God. Cody doesn't like it. Okay, well.
Oh,
Tony, pretty talented player, Cody. I think he's got something to offer.
We will say no more other than FTNFantasy.com and check out Nelson's high stakes package and take a read of what he has to say about that. Man, this is actually tough. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to make a decision here. I'm gonna jump on it. Man, he's running. He's just like lining up wrong and running all the bad routes. And so,
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah,
that's
season long here. This isn't DFS. I like it.
Yeah, it's right around this time. There's countless of examples out on Twitter, but like Jamar Chase last year can't catch an NFL football. And
remember that? Oh yeah,
much to do about nothing. And then it was
it was a bust.
What was it? And then it was 2 years ago, Justin Jefferson in his rookie year. It was
depth chart.
Yeah, depth chart
behind BC Johnson.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. That was such a huge waste of time, that Chase talk, and it was heavy. You're right. It was all over the place. That's a great comp, Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Oh, rookie wide receiver, he lined up wrong, in practice. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, that's what I'm saying is like what we got to be careful with for novice players out there is reading too much into beat reporter reporting. They're there at practice. It's great. We're getting great information that we never used to get back in the day because these beat reporters would be there, but like we didn't really have social media where they would, report all these things. And I think what's happened is we've just taken it and like we're just using this like magnifying lens and we're taking it all in and we're not able to like filter through it and we're taking too many things to heart. And simple stuff like a beat reporter saying, hey, yeah, I was at practice today and Treylon Burks was, lined up in the wrong spot. And, Tannehill had to yell at him and tell him, go to the right side. And before you know it, it blows up on social media because someone retweets it and someone, says, oh, yeah, Treylon Burks, bust, first round pick, this and that. And then it just gets out of hand. And there's no need for it to be that go that far.
Everything's just so overly magnified, and you add Twitter into the mix, and everybody's got opinions, and it can really distract you. So gotta stay on task and kind of filter through things, and especially because people tweet sometimes a lot of things as fact when in fact it's not the case. You almost have to do your own research. The other day I was digging into everything. I just popped in Treylon Burks' name into Twitter. And then in a Google chat, and you get different stories, right? Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got a strong one. So got to kind of feed through the bullshit and find what you need.
Oh, good call. You guys are on fire tonight, live here. FTN, NFFC, 12-team OC with Nelson Souza, Vlad Sedler. I am Michael Govier. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because you can get more of this and get notified by hitting the dingy bell.
There's one dude that's fallen. What I think this is way past his ADP actually. So it'll be interesting to see. He's you're
talking about someone you want at one? Oh,
there he goes. There he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
was surprised by that because like he's a locked in like 5-6 turn. Like he's locked in that 6th round. So I was kind of surprised for him to drop this far.
Yeah, that's also partially on me. I just have not been clicking that AJ Dillon button. I think I probably just have. It's stupid, but just like just like a thing for Aaron Jones for so many years. Like every year, people always disrespecting him and always seeming to return first round value. At least up until last season when he was hurt. So I've been an Aaron Jones truther for quite some time. I understand that dynamics change. We don't know the exact roles. We know that Jones probably going to catch a crap ton of passes. And maybe Dillon might get more of the goal line work. So that is a solid pick, probably where I was looking. The other thing is because quarterbacks typically fall in this range, I would have still had a good option at 94 or 99, which would have been my 8th or 9th pick. The only difference being I wouldn't have necessarily been able to get a Konami code quarterback like a Kyler Murray that I do have an affinity for, just a guy that I feel had a down season, had no receivers. He was throwing like, Antoine Wesley at some point, and AJ Green and all these guys. And then now you're going to get Hopkins back eventually. You're going to have Gadget Rondell Moore all over the place. You got Hollywood Brown. James Conner can catch passes. Benjamin and Darrell Williams can catch passes. So I like a nice little rebound for Kyler Murray this year. And yeah, just been taking quarterbacks a little bit earlier than the field does.
And to catch up real quickly here, the ADP on AJ Dillon, we've been doing ADP since August 6th, is 61. He's going around 61 with a 47 min and a 72 max. A little bit of a gap there. And your Treylon Burks pick, by the way, Vlad, he's been going around 89 over the last 4 days with a 62 min and a 138 max. So that's a bigger gap with Treylon.
Yep.
Okay.
If Nelson likes the pick, then that's good enough for me.
Oh, by the way, Vlad, here you go. Breaking news. Dodgers tie it up. There you go.
Oh. I didn't know we were losing.
Vlad's an LA guy. If for some reason you don't know who he is. All right, there's 2 picks off the board for Nelson. Hunter Renfrow and a Konami code quarterback, Jalen Hurts.
Bam.
Yeah, I've been wanting to up my exposure to Hurts, and I just never seem to be able to get him on any teams lately. And like he just goes early. It's like it's a tricky spot because like I got Lamar and Kyler in their own like tier, and Hurts probably should like be there be right there in the conversation. But I've got him just below them, and it's tricky. Like I don't want to pull the trigger like in the 6th round or 7th round, for him, but I got to start upping him because in the range of outcomes, Hurts definitely is capable of being the QB1 in fantasy this year.
I love these Phillies baseball. Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. Sorry, the Philadelphia
like
Eagles.
Him too. Like Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola.
Pretty good. Yeah, you said that on the last stream. You're gung ho on the Philly offense this year, right, Vlad? You're pro the Philly offense.
Yeah, at least for me, there's a lot to like. I like the combination of old friends Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Dynamic pass catcher like AJ in the mix. Devonta Smith, fantastic rookie year to kind of take some attention off Brown. Oh. You got a double power, not power, but a nice little speed running game. A couple of backs that can catch passes in Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell. You've got one of the best offensive lines in the game. You got a good defense with solid cornerbacks. Coaching, I don't know, we'll see. And everybody's just like, oh, it depends on Hurts. If Hurts doesn't step it up, it's not going to happen. Like it's all kind of right there on the plate for him. And, he's talented and he's good for fantasy, right? You got these guys like him, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, who can just score a crap ton of fantasy points, they could average 30 plus points per game in this format and be top 3 guys with ease. To be able to just run them in like that is really pretty awesome.
Yeah, that homework clause was bizarre. I don't know what was up with that contract with Kyler Murray. They rectified that, though. They 86 that, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He's going to study anyways because Kyler Murray wants to win. He got his money, and now he wants to win a Super Bowl, and that's the whole package for him. Cody wants to know, now that Stevenson is off the board, Ramondre Stevenson of the New England Patriots, any Harrison Stevenson opinions. Damien Harris, Ramondre Stevenson. I tend to get neither, says Cody. Either of you favor one, neither, both?
They kind of eat into each other's. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
They eat into each other's value a little bit, right? Like if they're both healthy, they'll both get mixed in. You just never know who's going to get what. I think, everyone obviously talks about Damien Harris's negative TD regression. Makes sense, right? He scored a lot of touchdowns last season, and he doesn't catch passes. That's kind of the downside in PPR. But he's kind of getting overlooked because Ramondre is like the sexy pick and fun guy to draft. But we just don't know how this is going to line up. But right now, Stevenson is pretty much, I've seen him going ahead of Harrison a lot. I haven't been landing on either of them really, usually, because Stevenson always goes higher than when I'm about to consider it. But it's going to be a very run-heavy offense, I believe, and a good team. They'll score a lot of points.
And Nelson, you're from that area. You're from New England area, so you know what Belichick does as well as anybody. And there's no way anybody could give you an honest, accurate assessment of how the playing time will play out, can they?
I mean, Harris didn't do anything last year that would make me think that like Stevenson's going to start over him or get more touches than him. So
exactly.
The only way I see Stevenson, being, outperforming his ADP is if with a Harris injury or he gets traded. Like if he gets traded, although the Stevenson owners are going to look, like geniuses, no doubt about it. But he's going to be mixed in there, but like there's going to be a third down back in New England that is not Harris and Stevenson. Okay. And I don't see like the upside unless, again, like Stevenson, I treat as kind of like one of those like elite handcuff guys. Needs an injury or Harris potentially gets traded.
And Devin Singletary goes off the board for Vladdy.
I like him, man. Obviously, he showed what he's made of last year. Things get a little bit murky there with James Cook, who apparently is a phenomenal pass catcher, and he could take over, be the one. But Singletary is going to get work. He's going to do a little bit of everything. Maybe a little low on the touchdown expectation. But I was looking to click on the Chase Edmonds button, and I knew 2 picks before me he wasn't getting it to me. I saw that neither teams before me had the number 3 pick. I knew Sandman was there too, Sandman the sniper. So I figured Edmonds wasn't coming to me, and so he was essentially my consolation prize there.
And not too shabby. We were talking AL East running back, so it was really timely. Nice job, Vlad. And now it's coming right back to you, Vlad. You're on the clock again in round 9.
Did you say AL East?
Is that what I said? Good.
I'm in baseball mode too, man.
Man, you guys are like full baseball mode.
I've been vacillating between NFL and MLB all day today. So, yeah, the AFC East.
Let's talk about the Toronto Blue Jays.
What's it going to be for you, Vlad? 30 seconds on the clock.
I can wait for I have, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 receivers. I can wait for my next guy because there's not anyone specifically that, sure, there are a couple of guys that stand out. But I think I'm going to take my tight end, and this is your boy from your town. I'm just a big fan. I've just been kind of clicking this button to get him at 99. Feels like a good deal. So I like TJ Hawkins.
You love him. You were talking him up last year. I think you were on him last year, right? You enjoyed him. I don't know what round or what price, but
yeah, he was hurt. It was kind of a down. It just things didn't work out for him. So I'm expecting a little bit of a bounce back. I'm curious what Nelson thinks of him.
I love the talent. It's just going to be, can Goff like lock onto him? Will they use him more in the passing game? But the talent's there. So 9th round, again, everything with me is like, I don't really do like projections or anything like that. For me, it's more just range of outcomes. I judge a guy by what I think his ceiling is, what I think his floor is. And then if things break right, what's the range of outcomes? If things break wrong, what's the range of outcomes? That's how I go. And Hawkinson, I don't think it's crazy to think that if things broke right for him this season, he could be easily a top 3 tight end.
Yeah, and I was going to say the other thing is this is a very unique, specific format where you have 20 rounds. Half of your team is your bench, and you want to kind of build a lot for you're shooting for a grand prize of 250,000 among 4,000 plus teams. Nelson, you said it best, right? You don't want these like Jarvis Landry types, like without the upside, right? Like you want to go for the gusto. And
yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about having, a Jarvis Landry type that, is super solid and, is going to get you those 8 to 10 points, that you can count on. But I mean, if I'm not in a confined league, just a 12-man league, and I'm playing like this tournament, like we are, where we're trying to beat thousands of teams, it's like in DFS terms, it's like a GPP, right? You have to look for the upside. You're looking for guys with a big ceiling, because you got to hit on those guys. Like you can't just be taking like these solid NFL veteran types.
That's a fair point. That's a great point, as we are in round 9. We're going to go to what, about through round 12 or so?
Yeah, I think about an hour, basically top of the hour. So another 20 minutes or so probably will get us through around round 13, 14, something like that.
All right. Don't forget the promo code. You guys can sign up. Govier25. GOV is in Victor, IER. Sign up for an OC. Sign up for a cut line. NFFC leagues are going all day and night. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? All day, all night, and then some. They're available for you.
Why not go with GOV as in your buddy Vlad? No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God! No, you're right. I mean, that's the natural transition. My mom always on the phone. She'd be so intense on the phone when she'd call like a cable guy or something. Like, it's GOV, is it Victor? She always emphasized that Victor so much that it burned in my brain. But that's a natural transition for me now that I'm here with the FTN crew, Vlad. I like it. I'm happy to do it. It'd be a tribute to one of the finest human beings, and an even better. Is he a better human being or a better fantasy player, folks? Weigh in now in the live chat. I need to know.
We brought you up I recorded with the FTN baseball podcast today with Rob Silver, former main event champ and obviously Canadian. Not obvious to those who don't know him, but obvious to those who do. And we brought you up. You came up on the podcast, so now you have to listen. So we talked about you being a new member of Canada in Ontario, right?
That's right. Right here with Robbie. That's sweet, Rob. Thanks for that. All right, we're in round 10. Nelson's going to step out for a minute. He just took 2 players, so we're in round 10 now. Russell Gage was on the back end of this double dip with Rondale Moore. I love that pick. Russell Gage, by the way, Vlad, I was really pro on Gage, and then the Julio Jones signing happened here right around the start of camp. Did that freak you out in any way, or were you not a Gage guy, or did the Jones signing impact you?
I was already a Gage guy and probably overdrafting him to a degree when he was going higher. And this is mostly in best balls, but the 80s, 80s around there. I'm interested, but obviously, he had I think it was a hamstring issue today. So pulled up lame on a play or something like that. So yeah, hurt a little bit today. I'm sure he'll be fine, or at least we hope he'll be fine. But that's kind of what Nelson's doing there. He's kind of buying on the dip. There was no chance that Gage is going to, even with the injury, that he's going to come back for his next turn, like around pick 134 or whatever it is. So that was the kind of the time to jump on him. And then with Rondale Moore, that's a really nice combination. I think Rondale Moore is going to be a nice, solid PPR guy, a gadget guy. Is going to have a lot of plays designed for him. Him and Kyler, I think, is nice. I considered him. I probably should have stronger considered him with Hawkinson, since I do have Kyler Murray, since we do like to get stack happy here sometimes.
Well, I'm glad you went back to Murray, because it reminded me, in this day and age, can you really afford to have a quarterback who doesn't run? Can you really win your leagues without that type of quarterback today?
I mean, you can, right? Because you had Brady last season, obviously a top 3 quarterback, and was relatively priced. He was going around 100 ADP last season.
That's true.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers was QB6 last year. He was QB5 by points per game. And he also was like going in the 80s, 90s. So You can, right? With NFFC, it comes down to those last 3 weeks. So if you get in, if you win your league or in second place and you get into the playoffs, what they do is they take your average score for those 14 weeks and then 14, and then add weeks 15, 16, 17 to that. So you want to get into the playoffs and get hot during the playoffs to win that 250K. So a lot of it comes down to a lot of, good luck and things like that.
That's right. The Raz Bowl, that happened last year. I learned about that during the Raz Bowl, which is also hosted on NFFC. You're coming up here in a couple of picks. You have just taken a tight end recently, and you got one quarterback. So the world is your oyster at this point, Vlad.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what teams 10 and 11 are up to. C12 is really wide receiver heavy. Probably not going to grab receivers here. So if I want one, I could probably wait for it on the way back. Let me think through this. Each have 3 running backs. Team 12 will probably take a maybe not a tight end, maybe a quarterback here at the very least. I don't need a quarterback. Looking at running backs here would be my 4th. Receiver would be my 5th. I don't need a tight end. I don't need a quarterback.
Team 12 would be the last team to take a quarterback. They're the only one that hasn't. Team 12.
All right.
Nelson, 25 seconds on the clock for Vlad here. He's thinking over his pick. Do you have an idea of what it'll be?
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah, that's Henderson. That's about right. I mean, that's what for his team. He's got Barkley. He's got Zeke with Singletary. He's got the 4 wide receivers. The problem is that wide receiver is starting to dry up a little bit. This is definitely a heavy wide receiver draft. So wide receivers are getting pushed up. I think Vlad's looking at it more like, okay, I do need wide receiver. I need to get my 5th guy and everything, but it's not the value. The value was to pivot over to running back.
Yeah. And also I'm looking at teams 11 and 12, kind of assuming maybe one will go, maybe 2 max will go in that group. So I could still on the way back here, grab a receiver of choice. And I've got about 4 guys I'm looking at.
Yeah.
ADP right now for Darrell Henderson, 121 over the last 4 days, 102 min, 150 max.
Yeah, it gets wild in those the OC streets. You just never know what kind of draft you're going to join, what's going to happen. I remember I told you that I snuck into a Saturday draft. Wasn't planning on it. I finished my baseball article and I was like, oh, there are 3 spots left. Let me jump in. So bought an OC team and ended up with the 11 pick. And the gift of Austin Eckler fell to me. Actually, we never really know what a gift is until the season starts, right? But it was a max pick at the time, so I was like, all right, cool. I got Eckler with Barkley and AJ Brown and went from there.
Yeah, you get a max pick like that on a player like that, that's something I would happily take. You're right. You never know what's going to happen season to season. Injuries can happen. In fact, today I saw in a quick hitter on Twitter that Eckler was talking about he welcomed Isaiah Spiller into the fold because he wants to have a longer career and he doesn't want to keep taking all these hits from these massively fast and powerful dudes on defense.
Yeah, that's our baseball buddy, David Mendelson. He gets Austin Eckler on as his guest on occasion. And I saw a little bit of a clip of that. But what do you think of that, Nelson? First of all, a active player, very involved in the fantasy community. What do you think about that? And the fact that he's openly saying, does he mean it? That he likes having these guys that can get him off the field here and there? Isn't that kind of anti the, just give me all the work type of mentality?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's nice. It's like a breath of fresh air to have a guy like Eckler that embraces the fantasy football community and understands that a lot of the popularity from, of football comes from fantasy. So, him saying that, I think at the same time, I think he understands too, that if he wants to play in the NFL and have some longevity, that he needs to be able to, not have that heavy workload. He's also a guy that his touchdowns, I expect that to kind of regress. And if Spiller or Kelly or one of those guys kind of um, develops behind him, we have to worry a little bit about around the goal line, because like for the first time in his career, that was the thing that was missing with Eckler, right? He was always a great like pass catcher out of the backfield. And we said, man, if he gets some goal line work and he can get his touchdowns up, he could be a monster. And that's what we saw last year. But I think that could quickly like seesaw and revert back to, somebody else getting the goal line looks.
Nyheim Hines just went, and that could have been yours, Vlad. You passed on him. Why would you pass on him for a guy that I really like?
Because I was gonna. So remember there, I took the running back, expecting not many receivers to go in the turn, just based on the board and seeing all the yellow there. And I had 4 receiver targets I was looking at to grab as my wide receiver 5. Interestingly, some of them are rookies. I think last couple years, we've seen rookie wide receivers just kind of step up and explode. There have been a few examples of that where in the past, it sometimes took them 2 or 3 years to really get going. And so there is a great class here. Like all these, we don't know who's going to blow up, but I just have this weird feeling on Garrett Wilson. I don't know what I think of their quarterback, Zach Wilson. Obviously, I think Elijah Moore is great as a slot man. He's going to score a crap ton of fantasy points, but Wilson's the main outside guy. From reports at camp, things look good for him. Kind of like the Jets' schedule from a pass game perspective. I think obviously they'll be down in a lot of games, passing a lot. I think Wilson's going to be their deep guy, run good routes, strong hands. So I'm a fan. Let's see what he can do.
As a Wolverine alum, I know a lot about Ohio State offensive players because I see them up and down the field every year, and there's no doubt about it. Garrett Wilson is incredible. So is Chris Olave. I mean, both these guys are going to be studs, I think. I really, really, really just have little doubt about that. J.K. Dobbins was a guy. He came right out of Ohio State. He was everything I thought he would be. He got hurt, but he'll be back too. So I like that pick.
Nice team, Nelson. I like that. It's coming together nicely.
I don't love my wide receivers, and that's the issue when you take 2 running backs and then a tight end early. It's just and you're on one of the ends. I don't. There's potential with the receivers, but I'm a little uneasy. I don't think it's like and when you're in a sharp draft and nothing's like really falling and guys are picking it off, and it's a heavy wide receiver type of draft, it's tough.
What do you this might be a silly question, Nelson, but you like where you draft them, your draft equity doesn't make a difference with your starting lineup, right? Like if, for example, week 1, you like Rondell Moore's matchup more than Elijah Moore's, you have no problem playing him over him as your wide receiver 3, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I am surprised. Maybe I'm not. I mean, Nico Collins went a couple picks ago. I'm very curious to talk about him. As we see Nelson make his picks first, though, this is pick 1, and he's taking Kenneth Gainwell to close out round 11 as we move into round 12.
I considered Gainwell the last turn. I just have a lot of Gainwell, so kind of balance it out with my D Hendo.
Oh, Melvin Gordon. You're backing up Javonte Williams? You like to handcuff guys on your team, or some people like to steal handcuff guys?
No, not really, to be honest. I don't really make that a priority. It was just the fact that, Gordon 12th round, I thought that was late enough for him.
Oh, see, it's just that simple, folks. It's not complicated. I want to go real quick to Nico Collins. He's a guy I really like. Yes, my Wolverine glasses are on, a little biased, but he's also immensely talented. He's got a big body, amazing catch radius, and I like what they have in Davis Mills, the quarterback down there in Houston. Nelson, Nico Collins, does he tickle your fancy at all? Or
Yeah, I mean, if you go look at my rankings at FTN, you'll see that I've got him as one of my highest ranked wide receivers in comparison to the consensus there. So I'm definitely high on him.
I was highly considering him when I took Garrett Wilson, and I don't have enough Nico through my first, through my shares here. So Yeah, that's something I could consider, especially if you think that Houston's going to be down in a lot of games. And, if something does happen to Brandon Cooks, that's a really nice upside pick. And this is around where he goes. You got to take him like before 130 now in NFFC if you want a piece of Nico Collins.
Yeah, game script is huge, man. That's huge. Oh, Melvin Gordon, nice old man pick. I don't know what that means. Does that mean Melvin Gordon's old for a running back? Okay, I could buy that. Also,
is he even 30?
Probably not, but that's the point. Like, it's just so ridiculous to say that about running backs. Barrios is the jet slot guy. Elijah Moore plays everywhere. That's the problem with the Jets. They're going to rotate 4 wideouts. Elijah Moore stays on the field.
Where did I read that Elijah Moore is going to play a lot of slot? Did I get that wrong, Nelson?
That's the thing. He plays all over the field.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, you got Barrios there. That's the prototypical slot guy,
Yep.
but they also move more around.
Yes, sir. Don't forget, Govier 25. GOV is in Vlad IER. Gets you $25 off a OC or a cut line on NFFC's website.
Yeah, Cutline is our sponsored contest as well. So definitely check that out. The Cutline is pretty awesome, and these drafts are happening all the time, like all day. OCs, you can pop in one on the weekends. They're happening all day since from the morning. During the weekdays, you can start getting into them after work. The very final one is this one that we're doing here. The Midnight Madness starts for East Coast folks a little tougher, 11:55, but some people are night owls. For me, it's 8:55. Kids are asleep, ready to draft.
Rub it in, dude. Okay, yeah, we got it. Now I'm a night owl. I'm down with it, and I get to do a stream with Nelson and Vlad as Vlad is on the clock.
Okay.
And as he considers his pick, he's thinking. Right now, the gears are turning. Even though he's lacking sleep, his preparation is strong, and he knows what he wants to do. Isn't that right, Vlad?
Yeah, for the most part. I kind of like I like Jahan Dotson there. That's somebody that I was looking at. But I do have contingency plans. Yeah, I mean, shooting for some.
Nelson, is Dotson on the move here? Dotson a guy you're interested in?
I haven't been, only because usually where he goes, like in this range, I've already got like my nucleus of wide receivers of, what I am going to put, like, it's the way I structure the team. So my drafts usually tend to be wide receiver heavy in the early going. So like an example you can see there, I have like 6 wide receivers in the first 10 picks. So where guys like that, like Robinson and Dotson go, usually like I'm looking at a different position at that point in the draft. So I do need to make more of like a concerted effort to build some different looking teams. So, a little more running back heavy, but that's really not my style.
Not his style. Yeah, you took KJ Hamler, Vlad.
This we don't see often. I haven't seen Khalil Shakir drafted in an OC yet. Do you see that?
Ooh,
no, that's new.
So
someone know what we don't know? Maybe that's a great place to be.
Did McKenzie and Crowder die? I'm like, what happened here?
Yeah.
They did not.
No.
Maybe some inside info here, or maybe it's just a shot in the dark from Team 12. We are not sure. As we go back to Vlad again on the turnaround in round 13. Back-to-back wideouts. What will it be now? KJ Hamler in Denver. He's got Russell Wilson throwing him that deep ball. Hamler's another guy that I associate Vlad with, by the way. He's a guy that you like, you're kind of into.
When did I miss Mostert? Who the hell took my boy?
Oh, no!
And when was that? I didn't even see that.
12th round, Team 4.
No way. Oh, he knows I what?
Wow.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to let you take him.
All right, I'll be cool on wide receivers for now.
New home. Speaking of the AFC East, he did not leave the AFC East. Devontae Parker is in New England now, traded from Miami. Usually those trades haven't worked out historically for the Dolphins. Ergo Wes Welker once upon a time. But that was a free agent deal. But the bottom line is guys going from Miami to New England who are wide receivers. Devontae Parker is a guy that I always thought could really provide consistent output, but it just seemed like, injuries, opportunities didn't quite pan out.
Yeah, I mean, he just feels like every year. The guy spent some time hurt. I was a huge Devontae Parker fan many years ago. Just thought he was going to be kind of taking things to the next stratosphere. But obviously worked well with Tua last year. Had some some big ceiling games there. I think towards the end of the season, like November, December. I mean, it's tough. When you're drafting. While talking and doing this and kind of doing different builds. Like, I feel like if I was not on camera, no excuses, but if I'm not, if I'm not here and not talking about it, I'm not tired, I might have a little bit of different build. I feel like have more receivers at this point, or, I was even thinking about doing something silly, like grabbing a second quarterback early, Derek Carr, just to match with Adams. But that was, that's just for a draft board Twitter post. So I'm not going to do that, but it would have been cool. Play Carr Adams sometimes.
Well, Nelson, what do you think of Vlad's team right now? Does it look like a team that could compete to you?
Definitely. I mean, he's got Kyler Murray and Hawkinson at the QB and tight end position, where both guys, again, range of outcomes could be QB1 and I'm not going to say tight end 1, but top 3 is there. Barkley is a favorite of mine. Getting Adams to come back around in the second round is a really good start. Pittman, I'm really high on getting him in the third round. And then, Zeke, I'm off Zeke this year, but it made sense for his team and his style of drafting. He likes to have, that RB2 early on rather than, pushing it back. And then just, Juju, Burks, it's all guys that I like. So yeah, I'm always gonna like that type of team.
And the best part is Nelson, he won't pull any punches. Like, he doesn't care if it's on the air or if it's in front, with me on Twitter. If he didn't like the team, he would just straight up say, yeah, I think this,
for sure.
He won't use the word like garbage, but he'd be like, don't love it.
Trash. Nelson, I'm just getting to know, and I'm liking what I'm seeing and what you say and what you offer as a analyst is incredible. But yeah, you seem like a guy who's a straight shooter. You don't mess around. You're straight to the point, and I appreciate that. From one blunt guy to another, I appreciate it.
Nice.
We got the West Coast, the East Coast, and the middle. We got it all happening here on the stream.
That's right. It's the melting pot of America right here on one live stream. Where else are you going to find that? I don't know, but you'll find it right here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're here, guys. If you haven't subscribed, just click that button. Click the dingy button, that bell, and it'll notify you every time we go live. We got another stream. I haven't even mentioned. Me and Nelson will be on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right, Nelson?
That is correct, sir. That's going to be – we're drafting at 8 o'clock, that one?
Yeah.
That's the rumor.
8 o'clock Eastern. Yep. That'll be fun.
Does Nelson smile at all? Of course he does. See, look, he's smiling right now, Anthony.
He's
here to draft.
I smile right here.
He's not here to.
This is me smiling.
The silent assassin. I love it. You're on the clock right now. Back-to-back picks, round 13 to 14.
We can do. If you guys are cool with it, we can do one more round, one more turn around. What do you think, Nelson?
Yeah,
I'm good for it.
Oh, yeah. He took two running backs. Last two picks were Kenneth Gainwell and Melvin Gordon. Anthony says, always business, never personal. I like that, Anthony. Respect. And there it is. Isaiah McKenzie off the board.
This is the first, and this is the only draft I've seen where Khalil Shakir has gone off the board before McKenzie.
Yeah, it's definitely a first, right? That's unusual. Frankly,
Get
Shakir's
guys,
a guy
right?
I still need. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a bottom line industry. You want to win, get your guys, forget ADP. ADP is a helpful guide, of course, but Nelson and Vlad have been around long enough. They're going to take the guys they need to take to win. And there it is.
That's a guy I was looking at my next turn as well.
Benjamin.
Although that whole thing, I know he's having a good camp. And I remember, Nelson, you and I were talking, I think a couple of weeks ago, where I told you I was drafting a lot of Darrell Williams in underdogs. Just felt like a nice solid pick. But like in this contest, for example, NFFC, I guess you were saying like, and it makes sense. There's just not a lot of upside with a guy like Darrell Williams, right? I mean, if something happened to Connor, most likely it would be stepping in, being the starter, right?
Yeah, I actually think that the coach speak out there in Arizona is that Eno's come, looks like a professional, took care of his body. They like what they're seeing out of him. So they like him in the passing game. So there's been some whispers that it's potential that he's got a role to start the season. And then Darrell Williams, I just think he's whatever. Like, I think what you see is what you get. So I just don't see like the upside in him, to be honest.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I thought
47 catches last year. I just realized that. I didn't realize how many those were.
I thought it was funny. I brought this up a moment ago. Paul said, "Did I mean to take McKenzie instead of Shakir?" It's possible.
It's possible.
Sorry, Paul. No, obviously, no offense. That's the beauty of this. Like nobody knows what the heck's going to happen, and mayhem starts at the very beginning. Starts in week 1. Everything that we thought is out the window. People overreact, and sit somebody good in week 2, or same thing in DFS. You're just it's just a SHIT show the entire season, but we love it, man. Football, there's nothing like it.
We love it. That's right. Oh, Alex P. Keaton from Family Ties is here. Eno pick is fire. That's
nice.
Alex knows.
But to be fair, I mean, we're all about balance. Solid last 2 picks, but old man Gordon, go young, Eno, always. Well, old man who's 29 years old.
I was going to say, Gordon, how old is he? He's 29?
Yeah, he's 29.
Started.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's old in running back years. But
yeah,
man, Snipe City over here.
Snipe City.
Donta Foreman and Dernis Johnson were 2 of my D apostrophe guys, the last 2 guys that I was looking to snag here. So I may change course. What do I have? 4. I got 4 running backs. Kind of feel like I need another one. Let me just look and see what available at other positions before I jump on the guy that I like.
22 seconds. This is Vlad's last pick. We're going to close it up after this round. We're in round 14 as Vlad makes his final selection here. 3 straight wide receivers prior to this.
All right, let's go Jarek. Last of my tier in the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
It's very useful in some DFS plays late last season and in playoff. If you guys played any, showdowns or DFS playoff runs.
He's no Isaiah Pacheco, right? But we try.
Yep.
Well, who could be? All right. Well, I think we've done our duty here today. We wrap up round 14. Vlad made his last pick. Nelson Sousa's team is in the book so far. If you want to find out about the rest of this, well, I guess you're just going to have to hear it directly from their mouths, right? So.
Yeah, and sign up for FTNFantasy.com. Jump into our Discord. We got the high stakes Discord. If you get the platinum package, we have a nice deal for that. Platinum 20 is the code for FTN to get $20 off of that, 20%. So consider it. Hop in and let Nelson and I and the rest of the team help you guys smash and win some drafts, win some leagues, and a lot of money this year.
Yeah, the Discord chat's where it's at. I'm always on there on the High Stakes channel. Vlad's on there, Maddie, and then Jeff Ratcliffe is constantly on the Fantasy Football channel. So, I mean, I just don't. There's no better deal out there. I'm biased, but I mean, you're getting 24/7, support. Guys asking questions about their drafts and dynasty trades and everything, and we're there to answer in a timely manner.
I love it. That's right. These guys, I'm getting to know the FTN website more now that I'm involved, and there's so much to get that is worth every dollar you spend here. And then some. It's worth so much more than they're even offering. It really is a legit deal. And if it wasn't, I'd just say nothing because I'm like Nelson. I tell it like it is. So we thank you so much for coming on to this stream. Don't forget that the promo code Govier25, G-O-V is in Victor, I-E-R, G-O-V is in Vlad, I-E-R, 25. Sign up, get $25 off. An OC like the one Nelson and Vlad are finishing up at this time, or Cut Line, which is best ball. Don't have to set your lineups. You just get the best optimal lineup each week after you draft. It's all available to you from the NFFC, which is the National Fantasy Football Championship. So having said all that, I'm at MJ Govier on Twitter. Please follow RotoGut, Vlad Sedler. That's an easy one. And the _franchise12, Nelson Souza, the _franchise12, all on Twitter.
Thanks,
That's
everybody.
it for us. Yeah, thanks, everybody. Have a good night
Good
now.
night.